Welcome back, GAMEYAAAD family. Thank you again for joining us here on GAMEYAAAD TV for another video. I really appreciate your presence on this channel. Now, I will be sharing with you as it relates to the Jamaica Titans versus the Leeward Island Thunders in their first match in this new breakout T20 league put on by CWI as well as Caribbean Premier League. Now, before I get into the details of the game and also looking on the key performance indicators, I just want to share with you that the Cricket West Indies Women's T20 Blaze is set to get underway in 2 days from now. That's May the 1st. So stay tuned to GAMEYAAAD TV as we will be sharing more information as it relates to the Women's Regional T20 Blaze. Now, the Leeward Islands Thunders, they would have made a powerful statement in their first match between the Jamaica Titans in this inaugural West Indies breakout T20 league. They would have brushed aside the Jamaica Titans by 6 wickets to set their competition on the way. And the Thunders, they were led by Captain Kareem Agor with calm knock in the middle, as well as good bowling performance by left arm spinner Andy Mahiz. Now the Jamaica Titans, they would have won the toss, right, and elected to bat, and their innings never got off to any real momentum. In the end, they would have finished on 123 for 6 of their allotted 20 overs, and the chief destroyer for the Leeward Islands Thunder would have been Andy Mahiz. He would have taken 3 for 16, and those wickets that he would have taken in the middle overs would have just broken the back of the Jamaica Titans innings. And they, as I said before, they never got to, they never got any real momentum in the game. To be honest with you, the Jamaica Titans, they would have got off to a steady start at the top there with Leeward and Kurt Mackenzie. They would have, got to 21 when, Love would have been dismissed by Gore for 14. Right, and Kurt Mackenzie would have been joined by Jordan Johnson. They would have stitched together a 54-run partnership. And at this point, Kurt Mackenzie would have been looking really good, very dangerous at this point. But he was dismissed by Kofi James. He would have made a run about 34, having scored 2 sixes and 4 in that knock. As I said, he would have been dismissed by Kofi James, and that would have started a slide for the Jamaica Titans, and they never recovered from that slide. Right, as I said before, Anderson Mahiz, he would have returned to wreak havoc in the middle overs for the Thunders. He would have dismissed Javor Royal for a duck, Andrew Rambaran for 16, and also Ramal Lewis for 1. In the end, Jordan Johnson would have made 40 from 45 deliveries. He would have been run out in the final over of the innings. Set 124 for victory. The Thunders, they would have got off to a fire. They would have shown real intent in the power play overs. Kofi James and Jamie Cornelius, they would have stitched together a brisk 64-run first wicket partnership. Kofi James would have been particularly brutal in that power play. He would have scored a brisk 39 from 20 deliveries, which included 3 fours and 4 towering sixes. James would have been later dismissed by Javor Royal for 39, as I would have said before, and that would have caused a mini collapse there in the middle. Mikhail Lewis would have been dismissed for 0. Jamie Cornelius would have been dismissed for 16, and Joel Andrew would have been sent back cheaply for 11. However, Captain Karima Gore, he, just showed calm leadership there in the middle, and he was joined by Giovanni Depeza, and they would have stitched together a 46 run unbroken partnership to ensure that the Thunders get over the line safely. So Arima Gore would have been unbeaten on 34, and also the Pacer would have been unbeaten on 17. Ramal Lewis would have taken 2 for 15, and Devon Royal would have taken 2 for 14 in the process. So scores in the match, as I would have said before, the Jamaica Titans, they would have made 123 for 6 from their allotted 20 overs, with Jordan Johnson getting 40 from 45 deliveries, Kurt McKenzie 34 from 34 deliveries, Andrew Rambaran 16 from 17 deliveries, and the pick of the Thunder's bowlers include Anderson Mahez, 3 for 16 from his score, Kofi James 1 for 22 from his score, Arima Gore 1 for 19 from his 3. And Leeward Islands Thunders, in their reply, they would have made 127 for 4 inside 16.4 overs. Kofi James would have made 39 from 20 deliveries. Arima Gore 34 not out from 31 deliveries. Giovanni Depeza 17 not out from 22 deliveries. Pick of the Jamaica Titans bowlers include Devon Royal 2 for 14 from his score, Ramal Lewis 2 for 15 from his score, and Andrew Rambaran no wicket for 12 runs from his 2 overs. So Leeward Islands Thunders, they would have won the match by 6 wickets with 20 deliveries to spare. Alright, so let us jump over now to the key performance indicators. And in this match, these performance indicators would be a bit skewed because Jamaica Titans would have batted first. And it would have been a bit skewed, especially for the Leeward Islands Thunders, right? Jamaica Titans would have batted first, and they did not, make, a lot of runs. 122, 123 to be exact, right? And so, in terms of runs scored, they would have scored 32. This is Jamaica Titans, 32 in the power play, while the Leeward Islands would have scored 65 in the power play. So Leeward Islands, they would have scored really well in the power play. They would have made use of the power play. In the middle overs, Jamaica Titans would have picked up their scoring performance. They would have scored 60 in that phase of the game. However, the Thunders, they would have scored 46. And remember, I guess the Leeward Islands would have known their target, so they would have been just facing themselves in this game. I guess probably the fact that they would have scored so many runs in the fourth play, they would have just take it down a notch in the middle overs as they try to to win the game. And I think in the middle overs they would have lost some wickets as well, which that is a collapse there. So I guess that would have even also affected their momentum coming out of that power play. Right. Also in the last over phase, the Jamaica Titans, they were very poor, scoring only 31 runs, and the Leeward Islands would have scored 16 runs. And as I said before, the Leeward Islands, they would have just faced, I think it's 1.4 overs in this last over phase, because they would have won the match inside 16.4 overs, right? And then so that's why that 16 would have been a bit skewed there, right? As it relates to the fall of wickets, right? I mean, overall, both teams would have lost, minimal wickets are within the international standard band. However, Jamaica Titans, even though they would have, had wickets in hand, they did not utilize that in terms of scoring, right? Even though they had, 4 wickets and at the end of the innings, right, they would have got to only 123 runs. Right, which they would have not, made use of the wickets that they have in hand. As I would have said, they did not get really any, great momentum in the game. because of how disciplined the Thunder's bowlers were. In terms of boundaries scored, the Jamaica Titans, they would have scored only 7 boundaries in their entire inning, which is really below par. And so the Jamaica Titans need to improve in every aspect of the game. In their second match, they were really poor in this game as it relates to the execution of their game plan. Right, the Titans would have scored 14 boundaries, and I said basically they would have, we have to take these numbers into the context of the game for the Leeward Islands Thunders. But they were really good in the power play. If you look on the power play, they would have scored 11 boundaries in the power play. And the international standards suggested, anywhere between 6 to 8 boundaries in the power play would be good, and they would have exceeded that, band. And in terms of that ball percentage, both teams need a bit of, improvements. Jamaica Titans, they would have had that ball percentage of 37%, while the Leeward Islands would have had, 35%. Right, and ideal that ball percentage would be around 20 to 30 percent as it relates to international standards. So they are not too bad as it relates to these metrics. Right, so the Jamaica Scorpions, they will need an overall improvement in their next game. They would not have executed their game plan well in this game. As you would have seen the metrics, they would have fallen outside of the key performance indicators as it relates to the international standards in almost every aspect of the game. Right, so they will need to improve on their bowling. All right, for example, they would have made 123 runs. Right, so you have that small total to defend, and within the power play you gave away 65 runs. That's half of the total already in within 6 overs. Right, so you were already behind the game with that small amount or that small total on the board, and within 6 overs you would have given away half of the runs. So that would have made them very difficult to get back in the game. Right, so they need to improve on their bowling, especially in that power play segment where most teams tend to go hard, so that they can make up in the middle overs. Right, even if they don't get the runs that they needed in the middle overs, they would have scored enough runs in their power plays that would have propelled them to get a sizable total, even if they don't perform well, because most teams tend to not do very well in the middle overs. Right, so because in the middle overs you want the scoreboard ticking over. Right, so you need a lot of twos, a lot of singles, a lot of threes, and the odd boundaries in the middle overs, because in that phase of the game most of the field would have been spread. Right, so it's much harder to get the boundaries. Right, so Jamaica need an overall improvement in their game. As it relates to the Thunders, their numbers would have been skewed, as I would have said earlier in the video, because they would have had a small total to get, and they would have gone hard in the power play. So in that middle phase, they could have taken less risk, which they did, and that would have allowed them to get over the line with small amount of risk and losing only just 4 wickets. So as I said, both teams will need to improve, because there are always room for improvement even when you win the game. Right, so stay tuned to GAMEYAAAD TV, as we will have much more to come in this breakout league, and stay tuned for other stories coming up. As I would have said earlier in this video, the T20 Women's Blaze will start in 2 days time, so stay tuned for some information in relation to that T20 tournament. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next video.
Belo, 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 belo.